live from Atlanta, GA. And it's your boy, the Icon, back with the wrestling, another wrestling review for you. And before we get started with the Saturday night's main event recap, hit that notification bell, like and or subscribe. Check out my reviews for Superman, the Superman movie I got up on my YouTube channel, and also the NXT Great American Bash that was earlier today. But right now we're doing Saturday night's main event, which is the Goldberg finale. They finally said it during during the show. It's the Goldberg, the final match, the farewell. And we only got 4 matches because tomorrow's Women's Evolution, and because tomorrow's Women's Evolution, we really didn't have women wrestle on the show, but we did get some female action. So let's kick it off. Jesse Lee Body was there, but for the love of God, they didn't have him on commentary, especially for the Goldberg match, which I think was a smart move. So the show starts on network television in good old Atlanta. The show starts with Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. And Logan Paul was in Drew McIntyre's corner, but in the corner of Randy Orton was one Gelatin Roll. Jelly Roll, he's weird. I know he's trying to get into it, but the way he sells like a coward. His facial expressions and he acts like someone who was being bullied or picked on his entire life, and he's trying to buck up the courage to stand up to his bully, which is very it's just awkward, but. During the match, there was cheating going on. Jelly Roll and Logan Paul got into it. Drew McIntyre hit a Claymore, and then when he knocked him out. He didn't get the pin. Randy Orton. Well, there was a moment where Jelly Roll had pushed Logan Paul to the floor, and then that's when Drew McIntyre was yelling at Jelly Roll, and he was like, "Oh, if you want to fight, get in the ring." He's like, "Get in the ring and face Drew McIntyre." And then obviously when he turned around, after he got finished yelling at Jelly Roll, he turned around and walked right into the RKO. So we knew that was going to happen. We all knew that was going to happen. And then after he walked into the RKO, Orton got the 1-2-3 victory. He pinned him, and it was over. After that, Logan Paul got in the ring, and he basically attacked Orton from behind. He started beating him up. Jelly Roll got back in the ring. He threw Logan Paul off of Randy Orton, and then when he had his back turned, Drew McIntyre Claymore Jelly Roll and knocked Jelly Roll out next to Randy Orton. Backstage, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll were talking. Jelly Roll was basically trying to be like, "I ain't no punk bitch, Randy. I ain't no bitch." And now it's going to be Randy Orton and Jelly Roll in a tag match with Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Why? Why? It gives 3 of them something to do, but oh Lord, child. Yeah. So that was it. That was how that one ended. I'm not really looking forward to that because, like I said, Jelly Roll, it's fine if he's in your corner. But to have an actual wrestling match with him at WrestleMania, I say the nay. But not WrestleMania, SummerSlam, but we'll see, whatever. But Randy Orton picked up the victory, and that was the opening match for Saturday night's main event. Now, after that was a genuine surprise because when they came back from commercial, they're doing the whole thing where they're just like, "Oh, tonight in the audience, we've got this person," and they start waving. They're like, "Oh, we've got this person," and they start waving. Then they show a couple of superstars. They're just like, "Oh, WWE superstar such and such is here." They did that with Jade Cargill. They were just like, "Hey," Rhea Ripley was there, Io Sky was there, Jade Cargill was there. But for some reason, when Jade Cargill was there, she was the only one that got her ass beat because while Jade was waving at the fans, Naomi came out of the crowd and beat the shit out of her. And I do have to say, out of all the female wrestlers and even male wrestlers throughout the course of history, Naomi sells the best heel beatdowns. The way she wails on you, that shit looks legitimate. And the 2 of them got into a big brawl. So this was the only women's action that we got on the whole show. So the 2 of them, Naomi and Jade, they got into this big brawl. They're fighting, they're pushing, they're shoving. They have to be separated. And then finally, Nick Aldis was like, "Screw that shit." He said, "Listen, tonight," he was like, "tomorrow night at women's," because the 2 of them were supposed to have a street fighter, no holds barred match at Women's Evolution. He was just like, "Oh, the 2 of you, so the 2 of you can't, separate yourselves until tomorrow." He said, "I'm going to appoint you a special guest referee to make sure the match goes without a hinge, and the special guest referee for their Women's Evolution no holds barred match is Bianca Belair." And I actually smiled because for SmackDown, to hell with Tiffany Stratton, the big 3, Naomi, Bianca, and Jade, the 3 of them, their storyline has been the most intriguing on the entire SmackDown roster outside of the Bloodline stuff. So I've been looking forward to the progression because, like I said, it's my opinion Jade beats Tiffany at SummerSlam. Naomi cashes in on Jade at SummerSlam. And then Naomi eventually loses the belt to Bianca. And then Jade fights Bianca at WrestleMania because Jade's going to win the Royal Rumble. And then we get Jade versus Bianca at WrestleMania, or we get a triple threat and Naomi inserts herself and it's a triple threat, which would be cool because then the big three storyline can finally like come to an end. But I said I'm excited for it. Like that's the one match I'm actually looking forward to for Women's Evolution. Like I want to see that. And then all my girls from NXT that's going to be in the Battle Royal. Like all my favorites are actually in the Battle Royal, not in actual matches. But no, definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Bianca because we got to get something out of Bianca to make sure that she's still a part of the storyline and to make sure that people still remember her presence. And I look forward to seeing all the drama unfold. Who knows? She might reveal that the finger is healed and she'll be back 100%. But like I said, that's it. We'll see. And we'll see what happens with that matchup tomorrow night on Women's Evolution. Then we had Big Jimmy Uso, my dog, going up against Solo Sakoa. And although I feel like Jimmy Uso needs to be the one to take the United States Championship off of Solo Sakoa eventually, because out of everybody in the bloodline, Jimmy Uso is the only person who didn't get a singles push or have singles championship gold. So I do feel like Jimmy does need to win the U.S. title at some point. The problem is it's too soon for him to win because Solo just won the belt. So I didn't expect him to win. He didn't win. And, he lost the match and then he got beat up afterwards. So we're going to put a pin on Big Jim for now and we're going to come back to him later. While he was getting his ass beat, so Jacob Fatu showed up, you know what I mean? And then they're gonna do the tag, like basically like the artist formerly known as the Bloodline and the Bloodline OG Bloodline and the Bloodline 2.0. The artist formerly known as the Bloodline storyline, they're dominating the United States Championship title picture right now. So I said it is what it is. I said hopefully Jimmy Uso gets that belt eventually. But but for now we'll see how the story progresses with him, Jacob Fatu, and Solo's gang. Next up was something pretty interesting. It was Seth Rollins versus L.A. Knight. The match was fine. It's cool. It's nice to see L.A. Knight mix it up with different people because I feel like he's been fighting the same three people like for 2 years now. So it is nice to see him mix it up with a Seth Rollins, mix it up with the Raw roster. And I don't know how the match was supposed to go. I don't know if L.A. Knight, because Seth Rollins, he's the Money in the Bank holder, so he got to look strong. But, L.A. Knight, he takes a lot of losses, but the fans still support him. So I wasn't 100% sure how this match was going to go, but there was a point during the match where Rollins had hurt his knee. And I thought they were pulling a rib. I thought it was a work. I thought it was one of those, I'm going to pretend like my knee is hurt. And then when he gets close enough, I'm going to sneak him from behind. And be like I was playing possum, surprise, surprise. Come to find out, I think he's actually hurt. And the referee was checking on him. L.A. Knight was like walking around in circles. And if it's true that he actually is hurt, if Seth Rollins really did hurt himself, kudos to him for finishing the match and allowing L.A. Knight to pick up the victory. Because he said to the referee, he was like, I'm good. I think I can go. And then he stood up. He hobbled over, and as soon as the referee said continue, fight or whatever, L.A. Knight hit him with the BFT, pinned him, and got the 1-2-3. I don't know if L.A. Knight was actually supposed to beat him, but if L.A. Knight was not supposed to beat him, if L.A. Knight was supposed to lose that match, kudos to Seth Rollins for calling that audible and allowing L.A. Knight to get the victory because of his injury, which makes perfect sense because in a real fight, if your knee's hurt, that means you're vulnerable. So L.A. Knight should have took advantage of that and he should have got the win. But we'll see when the report comes out on what actually happens to Seth Rollins. The fact that the Bronze didn't even come out to attack LA Knight from behind, that's when I kind of knew that maybe the injury was real. But let's pray that for Seth Rollins it's not anything serious. And kudos to LA Knight for picking up a big victory, because getting a victory over Seth Rollins on Saturday night's main event is actually a pretty big deal. So let's relish in that and see where that storyline goes, or where the Seth Rollins storyline goes as we proceed. And finally, the main event in Atlanta, GA, Goldberg fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. And yes, I was there when Goldberg debuted in WCW. I was there during the height of Goldberg. I was there when Goldberg Mania was running wild. I remember the streak. I remember the whole thing, even when, he lost to Kevin Nash. I remember when he returned to WWE in 2004. And if I'm being perfectly honest, as iconic as the Goldberg theme music is, I was more partial to his 2004 WWE theme. I honestly did like that a little bit better. Like, that was just me. But he did the whole spiel. Like, he came out of the locker room, he had the security, but instead of the security, he actually had the original guy who did his security back in WCW. Ernest the Cat Miller was there. So shout outs to the Cat. His son was with him and a couple of other people from the old WCW days. So it was actually nice to see that. They said especially the Cat, like, he hugged everybody. And then, like, they had to have his son, like, walk with him, like, one last time. Then, Goldberg, he got in the ring. He did the Goldberg thing. I thought as soon as the bell rang, he was going to spear him, jackhammer. Like, that was going to be it. And although this was his final match, there was always, like, that small doubt of, is he actually going to win? Is he going to win the title and then forfeit it? Are they going to do that to Gunther? Are they going to put the belt on Gunther only to take it from him, like 2 seconds later, like a month later against Goldberg? Is Goldberg going to be champion? But but Goldberg actually had a wrestling match. Like, it wasn't just like a spot fest. It wasn't just like a big move spot fest. Goldberg actually had a legitimate wrestling match. You could tell, though, like, obviously he's up there in age, because you could tell, because after he did his whole entrance, once he got in the ring, the look on his face is like, I still play basketball and I'm over 40. I know that look he had on his face. That look, god damn, I don't remember the ring being this long, like the ramp being this long. Like, I saw that on his face, but him and Goldberg had a good back and forth. Like, the crowd was into it. Everybody was cheering for him. He hit a spear on a referee. Gunther worked on the knee because Goldberg had a bad knee. Goldberg took a lot of his offense. Like, he gave a lot of his offense. Like, some of his punches looked a little slow at times, but it was still Goldberg. Like, it was nice to see Goldberg. He hit a spear on Gunther. He got him up for the jackhammer. He hit the jackhammer. And then, a second referee came, and then, Gunther kicked out. And then after, there was a moment where Gunther didn't learn his lesson from the Sami Zayn shit. He was taunting Goldberg's son. But although he was taunting Goldberg's son, Goldberg wasn't able to take, full advantage of it. He did the bit where he comes out with the pyro, and he stands in the pyro. I forgot all about that. I'm gonna miss that. But in the end, after the failed jackhammer attempt, Gunther got the sleeper hold on him. And then, Goldberg, like, he tried, like, he gave, like, one last ditch attempt to power out of it. It didn't work. And then eventually he tapped out, and Gunther, he retains the World Heavyweight Championship, and he beats Goldberg in Atlanta, which apparently has never happened before, because after the match was over and Gunther left, they had Goldberg in the ring to say goodbye to the fans. He told the fans that he never lost in Atlanta before, so he apologized for losing. But I'm like, bro, you picked Atlanta. You picked Atlanta. So that was kind of on you, but... and it was weird because as soon as the match, as soon as the match was over, they went to commercial awfully quick, and I'm like, there was still like 3 or 4 minutes left, and I was like, is the show over? But then when they came back from commercial, Goldberg was in the ring, he had the microphone in his hand, and he was addressing the audience, and he told everybody, he was like, I love y'all, he said thanks Atlanta for, giving him the thrill of a lifetime. His son's probably gonna end up wrestling because his son looked a little brolic, but that was how it ended. Like, it went off the air with Goldberg giving his farewell speech. I'm pretty sure you can catch the full speech on WWE.com or on YouTube, like after Saturday Night's Main Event is over, because they had to get to the news. But that was how the show ended, with Goldberg losing his final career match. And thank you for tuning in. So I salute Bill Goldberg. I salute, his career. Like I said, I was there for his career. Like, I watched, his whole career. And like I said, I definitely salute him and for all the hard work that he put in throughout the course of wrestling history. Check out my review for NXT Great American Bash. Check me out on TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube, where you can leave your comments, questions, and or concerns. And I look forward to reviewing Women's Evolution tomorrow with you guys. And then we're going to do some more stuff on Red Eyes Entertainment. Like I said, 2 weeks I got that swimsuit fashion show. We got more wrestling for you, more television shows, reviews, everything else in between. And I can't wait to review this with all of you. So that was it, guys. So thank you for tuning in. So till next time for some more of the wrestling action for tomorrow for Women's Evolution. Take care. Shout out to Bill Goldberg. And until then, we're out this